Well, as he concludes his 11th year as Director of Athletics at Indiana University, Fred Glass can look back on enormous improvements to facilities and, he hopes, look forward to greater success in IU's two most high-profile programs. Bill Benner has more in this week's Inside Indiana Sports. Bill?
Gary, thanks. Well, state-of-the-art is the best way to describe across-the-board additions to the IU athletics venues. But of course, Hoosier fans are yearning to see on-field and on-court success for the Indiana football and men's basketball teams. But as I'm sure he will point out, there have been significant achievements in other sports. And we welcome IU's Vice President and Director of Athletics, Fred Glass, to the program. Good to see you, my friend.
Thanks, Bill. Good to be with you. Thanks for the invite.
I know that there's no such thing, even when we're concluding the academic year, there's really no such thing as an off season down in Bloomington.
You know, there's a little rhythm to the calendar. So from the start of football to the end of basketball, it's like mad times, but then it smooths out a little bit. So not as much as back in the day, but a little bit of a respite.
Well, we mentioned the facilities, and of course, Memorial Stadium, you're now closed in both ends with significant improvements there. Football, wrestling, swimming, and diving. I mean, really outstanding facilities down at IU.
Well, thanks, Bill. That's been a real focus for us. So, you know, I graduated in 1981, came back as athletic director in 2009. I felt a little bit like Rip Van Winkle because it hadn't changed a whole hell of a lot in the intervening however many years. Memorial Stadium was still two grandstands facing each other. Assembly Hall was literally falling down. You may remember the problem before the Iowa game. Baseball and softball were playing on middle school level fields. Volleyball and wrestling were literally playing in an old high school gymnasium, and I was afraid that IU was really in danger of falling into a MAC or sub-MAC like league. We weren't holding up our own in terms of being a Big Ten. Now, $270 million later, in 10 years we raised and spent $270 million to upgrade all of our facilities so that Memorial Stadium, other than capacity, I think takes a backseat to no one in terms of the Big Ten and football. Assembly Hall is a rejuvenated, iconic jewel. Wilkinson Hall with wrestling and volleyball, and I can kind of go on and on, but we are solidly at the top end of the Big Ten in terms of facilities.
We talked about men's football, or football and men's basketball, and I know there's frustration there among the fans, which is natural, but Archie Miller just concluded his second year, and Tom Allen, I think, just finished his third. So.
Yeah. So, you know, we have 24 sports and we care about all of them, but I get that men's basketball and football are what, you know, makes the world go round in terms of our fan base and attention and how the program is perceived overall. I'm thrilled about Tom Allen. You know, our history in football has been a bit checkered. I hate the statistic, but in 30 years, we've only been to 3 bowl games.
Right.
But 2 of those years were the last 2 years of the Wilson regime. So I think we are getting momentum. I think Tom continues that momentum. It's about investments and consistency, and that's why we're aggressively making investments, including most recently opening this fall our $7.5 million locker room update, which is stacked upon the $49 million south end zone renovation, which is stacked upon the $48 million north end zone renovation. You know, paying the money it takes to bring in a quality offensive coordinator, hiring a new defensive coordinator, keeping our speed and strength guys that were bound for the NFL.
Right. Those
make the difference, and I think ultimately that'll pay off in terms of more success on the field.
We got just about a minute left, and there have been successes in other sports, soccer, women's basketball, swimming, baseball, obviously, Big Ten champs. Let's talk real quickly. You made news recently. Beer and wine sales coming to Bloomington and Memorial Stadium this fall.
Yeah, we're doing a variety of things to try to improve the game day experience at our football games for our fans. And the ability to buy a beer and have wine, we think will enable people to have more fun, come to the games, come out of the parking lot, go into the games. All statistics have shown that alcohol-related incidents actually go down when you sell beer and wine at games. So we think, and there'll be some revenue, although frankly it'll be fairly de minimis, but it's really about trying to have our fans have a great experience and have a reason to come down to Bloomington instead of watching at home on TV.
And real quickly, an alumni or a fan event coming up this May 29th at the
Huber Winery. It shows you what Hoosier support and Hoosier hysteria is all about in basketball. We get like 800 people in Floyd's Knob, Indiana, to come and hear our coaches speak, and it's really rejuvenating to be with our most solid fans.
Yeah. All right. Well, Fred Glass, we wish you continued success, and we look forward to this. We're going to the Rose Bowl this year. I'm telling you,
Absolutely.
I'm going to be in Pasadena. Well, I hope.